Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got in another flashlight to take a look at. This is a new release from Sofirn. It's the model HS22. This is a very interesting headlamp that combines a floodlight, a spotlight, plus multiple different color temperatures. So stick around if you want to learn about it. We'll do a real quick unboxing, go over all the features and specifications, go over the user interface, give you guys some beam shots, and then give some thoughts on it. So as you can see, we're going to have 2500 lumens. That's a lot of output for a headlamp. 260 meters of throw. USB Type-C charging, IP66 waterproof rated. There's our LED. Show you some of the specs and run times and stuff. But let's get it out of the package here and see what we all have. Alright, so there's a notice. It looks like there's a insulation on the battery, so we'll have to remove that. We're going to have a manual. Looks like the strap itself. Branded. I'll show you guys that whenever we mount it. Looks like we have Type-C to C charging cable, a couple spare O-rings, and the light itself. Quickly show you the English version of the manual. I always like showing this in case you buy this flashlight and then lose your manual. You can always come back here for reference. Give you guys some close-ups here of this HS22. As you can see, there's 4 LEDs over here, and then 1 here. This is our spotlight. These are our floodlights. A couple buttons up on top. Those are rubberized. And then our USB charging port is back here. Let's see how difficult that is to get open. Not bad. See if it closes good. Seems like it does. Let's check out that battery. Get that film off of it. And we have an 18650. They're saying it's 4000 milliamp hours. Branded. Might be kind of hard to see, but we got a spring way down in there. Body is fairly thick. Well greased threads, O-ring on there, spring right there. So it's definitely an interesting design. It's kind of like a T shape on it. I know it's made out of 6061 aluminum, and then it does have some type of hard anodization on it. Let's get some measurements here. We're looking at a total length of 3.17 inches. Kind of an overall height of 1.82, and then a thickness of 0.95. With the battery in it, it weighs 4.2 ounces. You're probably going to be using the head strap, so let's throw that on there. 5.5 ounces with everything. This is using a buck driver, and the working voltage is 3.0 to 4.2 volts. You can use any 18650 that you want, including flat tops, but you cannot use 2 CR123A batteries. This would be 6 volts total, and it's too much for this light. And finally, it does have reverse polarity protection in case you put the battery in backwards. It's not going to fry the light. And then also has temperature regulation, so that if it starts getting too hot, it automatically decreases the output. Going to go over the user interface in a second. I did want to show you this chart again. We're going to have an eco, low, medium, high turbo, both in the floodlight and the spotlight, and then also with them combined together. If you look at the outputs, we're going to have 5, 50, 200, 600, 2000. And it's going to be the same for each of those lights, and it's basically the same even when you combine them, which I think is kind of weird. The only thing that's different is the turbo is higher. It's 2,500 when you combine, but it was 2,000 and then 1,500 for those. So it does add a little bit more, but most of the other outputs are the same. So I mentioned that there's two switches. We have a beam mode switch and a brightness switch. You can actually turn the light on and off with either switch, and you can get to turbo and eco with either switch. So if I just want to turn it on, I can tap it and turn it on, and I just did that with the brightness button, but I can actually push this one now and turn it off, and vice versa. So it's a little bit weird that you can use either one, but I can also see the convenience in that, where it doesn't matter which button you hit, that the light's going to come on for you. Show you a few more things here with this mode button. From off, you can double click it and it'll go directly to the turbo of whichever you're on. So I think we were just on the spotlight. So if I double click, it's going to be turbo spotlight. Now from here, I can double click again and it's going to be the eco mode. Again, just on the spotlight. I kind of wish that was reversed. I almost wish that it came on an eco first and then you could go up to the turbo if you want. But there is another way that you can get to the eco with the same kind of mode button. You just long press it from off, and then that'll bring on that little eco 5 lumens. And finally, the last thing that the mode button does is if the light is on and then you long press the mode, it will switch between spotlight, floodlight, and then both lights combined. So we're going to long press. Now we just switched over here to the floodlight, and then we hold it again. It's going to be everything on at the same time right now. We'll switch over to the brightness button next. So besides turning the light on and off, one of the things you can do with this is change the color temperature, or the Kelvin temperature of the light. And you do this by basically double pressing and you hold on the second. So right now all 4 of these LEDs are on. I'm going to press and then press again. You see how it just flashed? Now I just changed it to more of a cool color. I'll show you here again. See how that's way warmer, almost like a yellow. And you can stop anywhere in between too. So you can have 2 LEDs on, which is what it is right now. It's the 2 like cool white ones. I can have it to where all 4 of them are on, or where just 2 of the like yellow ones are on. Just like the beam mode, the brightness, you can double click from off and go directly to turbo. You can double click again to go to the eco. And you can also long press from off to go into the eco 5 lumen mode. And when the light is on, you can hold down this brightness button and it will ramp through between like low, medium, high, low, medium, high. And I showed you that from off, you could double click either button to get to your turbo. You can also get to it when the light is on. Just double click and you can tell that 2500 lumens is very, very bright. I am in a well lit room, tons of windows, middle of the day, and this thing is still really bright. I know that can kind of seem a little bit confusing, but I'm pretty sure that once you start using it for just a bit, it'll get pretty easy to do. This also does have a lockout feature, and I think you can do it from either button up here, but it's just a triple click. The light flashes, and now when I try to turn it on, it'll just flash. And let me try to get out of it, see if the other button will work. So another triple click. And yeah, it looks like we're back on now. So yeah, either button will lock it out and unlock it. Yep. Also, I don't know if you've been seeing the buttons light up when I first turn it on, and they're coming on and they're solid green. That's a battery level indicator. Solid green means we're somewhere between 75 and 100%, so mostly charged battery. If it were flashing green, we're somewhere between 50 and 75. There's also a solid red. It means you're somewhere between 25% and 50%. And then there's a flashing red, which means you're somewhere less than 25% and probably time to get charging. And speaking of charging, they make it very convenient, including this USB-C cable. You can take any type of power source. You can see that we are red right now. Those will turn solid green once they're fully charged. You could also remove the battery and just put it like in an external charger if you prefer to do it that way. Or you can just have multiple 18650s and just swap those out. Let's see if we can use the light while it's charging. Let's try to go through the different brightnesses and see if that will work. Nope. So it looks like you can use the light, but you only have one output while it's charging. Let's see if it'll go to turbo. Nope. So yeah, just one output. All right, let's see what this HS22 looks like in the dark. I'm going to start off with the spotlight first. We'll start in the real low, like moonlight eco mode, and then go up from there. Try to run through these fairly quick. That's the medium. High, again still on spotlight. You can see the center hotspot over there. And let's go to the turbo next. Really big hotspot. Alright, going to switch to the floodlight next. Again, we'll come on in that really low. Really hard to see this one in the whole room. But that is kind of like that moonlight and the flood. Let's go up to the low. And I do have all 4 of the LEDs on right now. That's medium flood, high flood, and there is turbo flood. I'll show you here on high, switching between the color temperatures. I don't know how well the camera picks that up, but that's all yellow right now. And then that's kind of the pure white ones. And finally, I'll show you spotlight, floodlight on turbo. So that's everything together inside the house, obviously. Got this HS22 outside. Not the darkest of nights tonight, but we'll still see what this can do. There's a row of trees about maybe 70 feet or so away from me right now. I'm not going to go through all the modes. I'm going to do the flood and spot together on high, and then we'll also do turbo. So that is what our high looks like. And again, this is the combination. Let's go up to the turbo and see what it looks like. Now again, I know this doesn't run for very long, but we'll still check it out. As you can see with that flood and spot together, it's a pretty nice beam. I am starting to feel a little bit of heat coming from it. It's not hot by any means, it's just a little bit of warmth. It still seems to be holding the same output. That tree back there is about 90 yards away. I can see it pretty well. I don't know if I could spot something up in it. I could probably see eyes, but wanted to quickly show you guys the head strap here. You can see it's got like those plastic kind of loops and then that little plastic piece right there. Well, the center plastic piece goes on this here so you can adjust your angle, and then these loops go right here on this edge. So you just kind of line everything up and then just snap it in place. And then again, you can position this wherever you want, and it does stay really well once it's in place. You could be jogging with it and it won't move out of that position. Again, you can kind of see how that little plastic piece on there kind of fits right in each of those grooves. So you have a lot of adjustment with it. You can go pretty much, vertical or pretty much all the way around and down. And then to remove it, you just simply grab it and then just kind of pull out. This head strap is the type that wraps around the side of your head, but then also across the top of your head. Provides a lot more stability, and there are several adjustments for each direction. So I've had the HS22 for a few weeks now. Been using it quite a bit around the house, and overall I really like it. It has 5 levels of brightness, so you should be able to find whatever suits your needs for the tasks that you're doing. Between the eco, low, medium, high, turbo, you should be able to find something. It has the 3 different beam modes. So if you want a spotlight, you have that. If you need a floodlight, you have that. Or if you need the combination light, you have that. It has multiple color temperatures, which is for your CRI. So if you need a very warm 2700 Kelvin, you can have that. And then all the way up to 6500 for that more cool white color. It has very impressive range, out to 230 meters, which is really good for a headlamp. They include that 18650 battery, Type-C charging, and that battery is a 4000 milliamp hour, and you're going to get really long run times. I believe on like that Eco, it runs for like hundreds of hours. So if there were a power outage, you could put this on that Eco setting and just allow this to bounce off your ceiling and have plenty enough light for days and days. I also like how every time you turn it on, it gives you a battery status indicator up there. I also like how you can use just any 18650 with it. So you could have this and then a spare battery or two, and that would get you through pretty much an entire camping weekend or whatever. A few things that I dislike. I do think that the user interface is a little bit wonky. I like the fact that you can hit either button to turn it on and off, but it is a little bit confusing at first. Once you kind of get used to it, it's not too bad. But even during some of the testing, like I was holding a button thinking that I was increasing the brightness, and I was actually changing between the different modes. So it can be a little bit confusing. You just kind of have to remember that once it's on your head, that right is for bright. So that's how you change the brightness, and the left is the mode button. Another thing that's a little bit weird with that user interface is like if the light is on and you double click, it takes you into the turbo. However, if you double click but hold is how you get it to change the different color temperatures. So it's a little bit confusing on that too. You just, again, you got to get used to it. I think this is great for, camping, hiking, fishing, working on your car, working on your house. It might be a little bit heavy for like distance running, just because of the 18650 battery and the light itself. The head strap is pretty decent. It does, it provides a lot of support, but it could be a little heavy for some people. Another thing I wanted to point out, I've only put it in and taken it out of this head strap a few times. But the battery level indicator little sign there, just from kind of moving it around, is almost completely worn off already. So I'm actually recording this video in mid-July right now. These are available on Sofirn's website for around $46 right now. I'm not sure about shipping cost. I know it typically takes like 2 to 3 weeks to actually receive them though. They are not currently available on Amazon, but they are supposed to be toward the end of July, either around July 22nd or 24th, which is about the time this video will be coming out. I think that they're showing a little bit more expensive, but they say like unavailable on there right now. I'm confident that there will be some type of like clickable coupons, for 10% or 20% off, something like that. They'll probably be around $50 or thereabouts. But I will leave both of those links down in the video description in case you guys want to find out more information about the light or pick one up. But alright, if you guys found the video helpful or informative in any way, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.